You ever wondered how it would be to live a life of a cat? Just meow meow scratching walls and drinking water from any plates you see. Well, there's a special game just like that for you, little basement dweller. You know what game I'm talking about, right? Jesus, you don't even know what I'm talking about. Oh, jeez. Well, this at least gives me an excuse to talk about this game and how it has become my hyperfixation. So welcome to the Stray Experience. At least let me tell you something about the game. Stray is an indie platform game made by Bluetwelve Studios, and it was published by Annapurna Interactive. Apparently, this is Bluetwelve's first actual game, which is a fun fact for you. It follows the story of a cat trying to escape a cyberpunk city with robots as the civilians. That's basically the story in a nutshell. Funny little cat escaping a city. There hasn't really been any type of a game that I know that you play as a cat. One of my close friends told me about this game, and let me tell you, I went insane. I didn't really care about the story or the price of the game. I needed to get it. My Ooga Booga brain was just thinking, cat POV game, gimme now. So after making a deal with my friend, I got the game. Thanks Friday, by the way.
You're welcome.
I waited until the 19th of last month until it finally came out, and as soon as it was available, I downloaded it and launched the game. But before we talk about this wonderful game, there will be spoilers for this entire game, so if you guys don't want to be spoiled, I advise you to either watch the gameplay or play this game for yourself and then come back to the video. If you don't care, then you don't care, just keep watching. Without further ado, let us talk about the story. The game starts with a cutscene with the cats in a tunnel? Arc? I don't know, but that's not the point here. You play as an orange tabby with the mentality of an average cat and an IQ of 5, and he starts playing with their friend's tail. After that, you go to sleep like any cat would, like half of their lifespan is spent on sleep. Just like me, for real. You wake up the next morning and begin your adventure. You walk, run, jump, and interact with your surroundings like any normal game prologue. But here's a catch. You can meow. You can meow in this game. It won my heart already as a game of the year. So you hang out with your funny scrunkly little cat friends, but eventually while you are jumping to the other side of the broken pipe, you fall and hang on a cliff, only to fall into the dark abyss. Which happens to be a place that seems like it's full of trash. The cat is limping due to the fall for a bit, and suddenly, a door slowly opens. After you recover like the chat that you are, you walk into an empty dead city. Nothing, just trash and dust. Security camera seems to look at you, so you meow at it. Dude's nodding! Never felt happier to see a security camera nod at a cat. It was just so wholesome, even though the cat had just had a massive fall. You try to follow the neon signs and streetlights as they tell you where to go, which seems to be the same dude as the security camera from the start of the city. As you're going through, you knock off some flower pots, paintings, and such like any cat would. As you are just minding your own business, you bump into these weird-looking creatures and, well, they don't seem friendly at all. Like, have you seen how gross they look? They look cool and all, but just still, ew. If anything, they look like they will just eat you in the span of seconds. So what would you do in this scenario? Well, in this scenario, you're typically gonna have to run, because they look like they will squish your guts out instead of them being squished by you. As you run away, you end up in an apartment. There you meet who was guiding you through the dead city this entire time. You help them be uploaded from an entire network system to a drone. There you start exploring around as you figure out a way out of this place in an attempt to go back to your cat friends. You end up at an alley where you see a robot, but they start running away from you. Man, this game is relatable. More robots are in sight, but they keep running away. After things calm down, it seems like they thought that we were the Zerks, the bugs that you got chased by. You hear that this place is called the Slums, a small town that has this gigantic wall standing on one side. You decide to look around the small town to see what it has to offer. It turns out that there are quite a few robots that have been living here for quite some time. You get the information from the Guardian robot that there's a special individual named Momo that has been living here in the slums, and they're the only robot that can help you get out of here. Another robot that stares into the sky also tells you that the sky is actually not the real sky and is supposed to be a giant roof the outsiders look down from, and that was why the stars looked like they had a certain pattern, making it look unnatural. So you go and meet Momo, but at a bad timing because they seem to be pretty sad about something. Turns out there were originally 4 people called the Outsiders, of which Momo was a part of the group, and were planning to go over the wall to reach the place that's called Midtown. Momo decided to wah baby mode and decided to stay at the very last minute, now regretting that they won't be able to see their friends again. You receive a notebook from Momo that has the Outsiders logo, which now is your task to find the Outsiders notebooks around the town. So you go to each place and find 3 other notes that has been left behind by those 3 robots that left for Midtown without Momo. You bring them back to him and find out that one of the notebooks has a manual on how to fix his transceiver, aka the device he made to communicate with the 3 other friends. But in order to do so, Momo has to get the transceiver to be connected to the tall tower, which could be reached if you can go through the Zerks, that is. So Momo gives that job to you, a little cat that probably doesn't even know what is going on, but is fine, it's just a video game. So you manage to go through all that danger and place the transceiver onto the tower with B12's help. You come back to the slums and meet up with Momo at the bar to test out if the transceiver works. Turns out it does work, but not for long. The connection has only lasted for a bit, but it was enough time for Momo to hear from Balthazar how him and the others went through the sewers to reach where they are now. After hearing this exciting news, the atmosphere quickly went down as Seamus, the son of Doc, which is one of the outsiders that left town, stormed out of the bar as he missed his dearest father. So you go visit Seamus and you get to find a secret room that once was Doc's personal lab that he worked in. Doc has done so much research on a device that could remove the Zerks on his own, but Seamus never knew about it. But thankfully, you were able to find a tracker that could lead to where Doc is currently at. So you help Seamus fix the tracker to redirect them to where Doc is. Turns out that you will have to leave the slums to do so, but the Zerks are able to eat metals, so Seamus decides to leave the job to you. Again, not questioning why the robots rely on El Gato. After you manage to not get eaten by the Zerks, you finally find Doc sleeping on his desk in an abandoned apartment. There you find out that he has actually completed the device that can get rid of the Zerks. Doc decided to mount the device onto B12 for mobility reasons, and now you and Doc are ready to head back. With the help of the weapon Doc has made, you finally safely make it back to the slums. You get to see a very heartwarming reunion Doc gets with Seamus, with other robots wanting to know how Doc has been. But now that you found Doc, it was time to go out there with Momo to find the rest of the outsiders, Clementine and Balthazar. You go through the sewers with a raft, then you arrive at a giant underground system with a giant door. Turns out you cannot leave together because the automatic system has been jammed, but the only way to open it was by manually pulling the chain. So Momo had no choice but to say goodbye and stay behind just like he did last time with his friends. Now you're on your own again. Well, not really, you have B12 on your side. Through this entire journey, B12 has been gathering up their lost memories alongside you while helping you solve problems. As you go deeper into the sewers, you get to see more and more of how the Zerks actually started to mutate over time. As soon as the humans were gone, the Zerks started to spread and evolve at a very fast rate, which led to where we are now, Zerks being able to eat metal as well. You are able to find more Zerk eggs, even walls of flesh with eyeballs on them that seems to be in control of the Zerks. Thankfully, you were able to safely make it out of the sewers, only the problem is that B12 almost fried itself and lost the ability to get rid of the Zerks. Then you see a giant structure that almost looks like a massive treehouse. There you are greeted with a welcome from one of the keepers of the entrance to what is called the Ant Village. You also witness B12 gathering up all the memories it has so far, realizing that he was actually a scientist that was taking care of this underground world, but due to an incident he uploaded himself to the network of the facility itself. This caused B12 not being able to do anything about the place for who knows how long. While B12 was processing his own memories, you wander around this place and get to meet Balthazar, the robot that got in contact via the transceiver back in the slums. Turns out that Clementine has left to a place called Midtown alone, while Balthazar stayed at Ant Village. So you decide to head to Midtown to find Clementine, hoping there will be a way out of this underground cyberpunk world. Once you reach Midtown, there's an old subway, which turns out the subway can lead to the outside world. Unfortunately, the train is not working, so you move on to Midtown to see what's happening over there. Once you enter the city, you are greeted with more robots, some being the guards that have been on heavy patrol. Those guards are called sentinels. It seems like Clementine is the one that the sentinels are looking for if you read off the signs. My god, this place is an absolute beauty. I do gotta say that before we continue. Anyways, even though this town is more cluttered and packed than how the slum was, you were able to find Clementine's hideout, which was just a silly looking apartment with extra barriers to it. Apparently, Clementine has been trying to reach the outside for a while, but the sentinels have been patrolled trying to find her. In order to escape Midtown and reach the outside, Clementine says that the old subway is the way to do it, though you have to find an atomic battery to start it up. She says that it can be found in Necrocore's factory, the very same corporation where the Zergs were created to help resolve of trash. Good thing Clementine has a connection that can help to get that battery with you. This connection is another robot named Blazer. He helps you out to sneak into Necrocore's factory, and after passing through dozens of sentinels patrolling around the factory, you have reached the power source of the entire facility. That power source being a singular atomic battery that has enough power to run the entire factory. So you steal it, causing the entire facility to go on lockdown trying to find out who stole it. But before they can even find out, you just walked out. I mean, to be fair, I don't think anyone would think that a cat stole an entire facility's power source, so got in a bucket. The bucket leads you to safety. Done. Bucket my beloved. Now you just have to take the atomic battery to Clementine. When you arrive back at the residence, you notice that the sentinels are patrolling the residence, going on to investigate for Clementine's because it so happens to be the place where the security cameras were all broken. Once you realize that Clementine got out of her residence before the sentinels could get her, she left a note that says to meet her and Blazer at the nightclub. So you make it to the nightclub hoping that you will be able to leave, but I guess that is just too easy because it turns out Blazer was helping Clementine to turn her in to the sentinels. Even in the future, there are still snitches. You get dragged to jail alongside Clementine, a cat, in jail. Wonderful. But as a Chad cat that you are, you do manage to break out of it on a close call, but since the sentinels are still on your tail, cause, you know, tails. Cats have tails. Anyways, Clementine decides that she'll let you and B12 go for the subway without her while she distracts the sentinels to buy some time. So you take the opportunity to place down the atomic battery. The subway starts working again, and off you go, headed to the outside world. You arrive at the next station, which is the control room. Turns out it was one of the many stars that you can see from the slums in Midtown. This place has been stuck for so long yet so clean because the companion robots kept it clean all this time. After you hack through the locked door, you reach the main control room, and B12 starts hacking through the entire place's network system. After going through a few systems of the main computer, B12 manages to get the roof ready to be opened. But in order to open it, B12 had to get on the workstation and it will cause the drone body to no longer work. But in order to open the city back up again, he had to make that choice. So he did. There goes our beloved friend B12, the robot who was there since the beginning, now gone. You couldn't just stay there forever though, so you give B12 the very last goodbye. Then you take your leave, back to the greenery the outside world offers. You smell the fresh air of the outside as you realize the end of the journey has finally come to an end. You walk off to the distance, and then a few screens turn on, knowing that B12 is maybe still alive. And with that, that concludes the story of Stray. So I totally didn't cry at the very end. Okay, I would be lying if I said that, but in a genuine sense, but seriously, that was so heartbreaking. I will miss my little drone buddy so much. This game really made me emotionally attached to every character, and I believe the game devs did such a good job on that. I really can't say that enough. I genuinely never had a goddamn game that made me so emotional to the point I couldn't even leave the end credits. At least that lets me see all the game developers' cats and dogs too. Or they're there in the credits. That made me smile at least. After getting so emotionally over a cat game, I genuinely did not expect such an impactful story, because all I really knew before I played was, oh my goodness, cat POV game, this is going to be so fun, I can jump around and run all over the place. I never thought that a silly haha cat game would make me feel so many emotions in a span of 5 hours when I played this for the first time. Which, yes, I did end up playing it for several times more. It really fit the solving puzzles to get more story genre of the games, which reminded me of my personal favorites like Portal 2 and Superliminal. Both of them have puzzles, problem solving, and looking at things from a different angle in order to go further into the game. But despite having those things in common, Stray really made me see what made it so unique on its own. Stray has the ability to make you feel included in the story and feel like you are there with the robots without having to say a single thing as the main protagonist. The robots won't pretend that you can talk or anything, but they're still able to understand you as a cat, but also as a character of your own, which is why this game hit closer to home than any other game that I have played. Also, I can't emphasize how much I love Midtown's aesthetic. The whole city's night vibe is just so pretty. The lanterns, the neon signs were so pretty, it was total eye candy. Every time I met new characters that are relevant to the story, I will get emotionally attached to them immediately because they were so lively and unique from each other. The background characters were also pretty interesting to encounter and interact with. They will have their own personalities that could be related to your own, and I think that's why this game is so unique. My personal favorites being Miko, the Siren Head look-alike, and Grandma, who is literally named Grandma. She's just so sweet. And I do have to say Momo is my favorite one of the story relevant characters. Not only is his design so fancy and colorful, his overall personality is something that I can relate to. A wacky bubbly personality but also has a very vulnerable soft side. Some of the background characters also have funny names which gave me a few giggles. Such as these two called Mo and Joe. Mojo. Yep, it's still pretty funny. Love the story, love the gameplay, and especially just adore each character that is in this game. I will probably end up playing this game over and over whenever I need some breather or just to kill time in general, because I don't think this game would ever get old for me, at least for a good period of time. Man, I can never keep promises, can I? I wanted to get this video out the same week I played it, but instead it took me almost a month to even finish the script. As always, thank you to my friend for helping me with the script because I suck at writing wrong paragraphs worth of English, this time being Friar. Thanks again so much for getting me the game and helping me with the video. I'm thinking of dipping my toes in making various types of videos and not just, you know, bullying children too much. And this just happens to be the first of many to come. And I'm just hoping I don't take months and months over to make them again. But what can I really do? I'm prepared for college. As usual, I have a Discord server for you to join, my Twitter and Instagram for you to see all the art pieces I've done, and that would be pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great time for the rest of your day. Annyeong!